Alright, so I've nearly got phase 3 of my OS7 library ready, and there's a ton of stuff coming. So this is one of the new capabilities, and there's actually so many options. This is just kind of the tip of the iceberg with it. But these are the new Blade React capabilities, and there's a bunch coming out with the initial release, and then I still have more in the works. So blade reactions are going to be kind of customizable in terms of what you want your blade to react to, but the idea is as your blade takes damage or impacts or absorbs energy from like a blast or a clash or from other sabers, we're going to have the base style, so this base style it's running, react to it. And how it reacts is going to be totally up to you. So there's so many options, I kind of lost track. But this specific blade is designed that any blast or clash, if done consecutively in a short time, will actually impact both the color, so it'll brighten the blade up into a brighter blue, but then it will also change the animation. And then lastly, because we haven't really touched on this, we're also going to change the sound. So we're going to use an alt font capability in a brand new way, where instead of just being like a special ability or a phase shift, it's actually reacting to how the blade is being used or what's happening to the blade. So if I just do a blast, you'll see just a slight change in color and a slight animation. You'll see a ripple running up the blade from the base. And there's multiple different effects we can do, and it's all customizable. The colors, if you want the color to change, if you want it to be subtle, drastic. But this one it's going to go from a normal blue to a bright blue, I think deep sky blue, with an added ripple. So you'll see the blade ripple. But this one's set up so that it reacts to consecutives up to 5. So 5 is what's considered the max impacts that will change the blade. So 1, a little effect. If I do 2 quickly, and they're also based on how quickly you do them together. So you'll see now the blade is brighter with more of that animation, and it'll go away. And you can set the duration of that. But now, because this one has 5 set at it, so if I do clashes, so that's 4 clashes, and it's a mix. You can do blast, clash, blast, clash. With how I'm doing this, holding the camera, it's a little trickier. But so far I haven't hit that max level, and you're going to be able to set that. But if I do 5 consecutive of either blast, clashes, or mixes, it's going to add the full animation to the blade. It's going to brighten it for the longest period, but it's also going to change the sounds. And this is using alt font, so it's going to change to a completely different hum, and technically swings, but I'm not swinging it. And the alt fonts can be whatever sound you want. Now, I purposely chose an unstable sound. It doesn't match the animation perfect, but I wanted you to be able to hear it. So I'm going to hit this 5 times. You'll see the blade change, but listen more importantly to the sound. The sound of the saber will actually change. So actually, let's bring this up. So we'll do it on here first, and I'll bring it up. So now, but then after it goes, it returns to the normal. So that's your normal hum and your normal animation. And then again, when we hit the max, so if you only do a few in a row, you get the added animation effect, but it's not going to affect the sound. You got to get to that max level, and again, that's adjustable. But you'll hear the sound and the animation change. So I'll stop talking so I'm not over it. So, and then after that period of time that we set, it reverts back, both in terms of the sound effects and the animation. And this is just always ongoing. So this is a reactive effect where if you take a lot of blasts, if you take clashes in a short period of time, and that time is something you set, it will build up. Now, they don't have to be immediately after one another. If the animation starts, if we do 2 blasts, but before it starts to settle it back, do a couple more, it'll do the same thing. So it's still active. So it's 5 within the time limit that you set, and you can set that reaction time. So, and then I'm talking over the sound, but the sound, once you hit that 5 mark, and again, that's adjustable, that's when the sounds will change. So you can have, technically because it's an alt font, you can have all your sounds change, but because this is kind of a timed state, it doesn't make sense to change out all your effects. So typically I recommend like the hums and the swings you would have alternate. In this case, it's doing an unstable sound. There is swing effects that'll change out, but it's only for a fixed period of time after you hit that max level. So one more go. I'll try not to talk over it, and I'll show you how it works. And then we revert back. So this is coming in phase 3, which is really nearly done. I've got to fix a couple interfaces that were giving me a little trouble. And I'm shooting these videos. So this is the first video. I have several new capabilities that I want to do demos on, as well as explainer videos. And then I'll prep everything for a launch probably within the next week or two. But this is the new blade reactions, and this is a sample. There are so many blade reactions we can do. There's also a lot of effects you can react to. So this one's set only for the blast and clash. We could set it for lockups, we could set it for lightning block, we could set it for accent swings, and any combination of them. So it's not one or the other. You can do technically all of them if you wanted. You can have it so that all lockups, lightning blocks, clashes, and blasts all build up to that max level. And that max level is basically where the font changes. So that's where you kind of built up enough energy into the blade where it actually affects the sound of the blade as well. And there's a lot more coming, but I think I have 20-something initial effects ready for phase 3, and several more that'll roll out over time. But phase 3 will be early access. It'll probably be early access for a while because I have a lot of stuff coming. But as soon as I launch it, I will announce it. And again, this is just kind of one of the tons of new capabilities coming. So hope you enjoy.
Animation is going to hold, and I was running it at 5. And you can choose your options. These are the ones that I've tested out, so I don't know above 6 yet. I'm going to start with at 6. What ends up happening is, because you have to consecutive, meaning that they have to happen in close proximity to each other, if you get too far away from the first one, you're going to maybe not keep that count the same. Also, it's meant to kind of be something that's your blade is taking on impacts in a short period of time, and it's reacting to it. It will react right away. It's just how long it reacts, and actually the visual effect are based on the max. And then we're going to also enable the sound, which I showed. So what Alt Font does is this allows, when I hit that max number, so if I get 5 consecutive clashes or blasts, I'm going to not only get the full new effect, which is a fast wave in an alt color from my emitter, it's going to also swap out the sounds. I recommend hums and swings, but you can change whatever sounds you want using the alt font setup. You will want to read up on that if you're not familiar with it. But what it does is, when you hit that max number of consecutive effects, again, in a period of time, it will not only change how the blade looks, but also how it sounds. So the original video with the full saber demo will show the sound. This doesn't show it right now. But so if I just do one clash, you'll see a really subtle hint of that alt color with the wave coming in. If I do a couple clashes in a row, you'll see it takes over a little bit more, but it doesn't last quite fully. And then same thing, it's blasts or clashes. So if you keep building up, now I hit my 5, that's my full animation swap. It's still going to start to settle down, but what would have happened when I hit that 5 consecutive while it's running is the sounds would have also changed, but then as it reverts to normal, so as the blade stabilizes, the sound then reverts to your original sound. So the idea is, you take in a bunch of clash and blasts, and it's added all this energy into your saber, and as a result, your saber now has this built-up energy in this form of a fast wave. And then it's also going to have a new sound. So I chose an unstable sound, but you could choose a completely different hum. You could choose different swings. And then what that means is your saber is reacting to those effects, and it's just building up energy, and it does dissipate. So your blade will always return to normal. Your sounds will always return to normal automatically. But anytime you're using them, if you take multiple clashes, take multiple blasts, you could add lockups, you could add lightning block swings. And those are accent swings, so those are really hard swings. It's not all swings. All swings, what ends up happening, because we're using an alt font and because we're using this capability, we don't want it to react to every single swing, because then technically your hum and swing would just always be the alternate. You'd never have a differentiation. So it's meant to be kind of effects that impart an energy or something. But there's a ton of other animations we can do, and there'll be more coming. So if I wanted to do kind of like an unstable ripple, so we'll do like that, and let's make it really stand up. Let's grab green so you can really see how that's going to look. And now And you can play around with all this. But what's going to happen is a clash is going to impart a little bit of green with an unstable blast. The more I add, you'll see this starts to swap out. And then once I hit that the max, the consecutive max, it's full switch, and then it will slowly revert. And again, when you hit that full max number of consecutive effects is also when the sound changes, if you've enabled it. You can run this perfectly fine with no sound effect changes. It's just a visual effect change. It's just the full experience. You'll want to set up all font. And it's really easy. There's a video at the top of the library that shows how to do all font. It's the exact same thing. And there's more information there, but just for those who are watch these videos, there'll be additional videos coming. So all the videos at the top are recommended for a reason. They cover how you do stuff. So the phases and alt fonts, it'll be the video that covers alt fonts. It's a very simple setup. You're adding and foldering in your font to make the capabilities run. But so that's the new one of, there's a ton. I'm going to do separate videos for them. But that's the new base style reaction capabilities. And again, we're going to take what I'm doing with phase 3 is I'm going to take a lot of these super advanced features that OS 7 has that people haven't been able to really get a hold of or unlock yet, and I'm adding them. And the biggest hurdle was making these type of new menu systems that make sense, but then also the programming in the back that actually handles what you're setting up. So because OS 7 now allows us to incorporate sound control in the style code, it also makes the style code a lot more complex, which means that I have to set up the interface to be able to handle that. So that's why phase 3 has taken a little while to get off the ground, but we're nearly done. I have to clean up a few more of the menus. I've got a few other options. If I can get them working, I'm going to add in. And again, this is one of many, many new capabilities coming to phase 3. My hope is to get a few more things, videos put together, get that all ready, package it up, get the final changes made to the interfaces, and then we will release phase 3 for my early access patrons. So if you're not part of my Patreon, definitely check it out. This early access will run for a while just because of the amount of work it's taken in phase 3. Phase 3 is probably, no joke, 3 times the amount of code that was in phase 2, just to get all these capabilities running. So this has been a long running project, and there's a lot of really cutting edge stuff coming to phase 3. So I have a few more videos to put together, and we'll be launching this pretty soon. So hope you enjoy.